everybody. Um, Once again, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has liked the video, subscribed to the channel, and if you're, watching this, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Um, I'm gonna really try to get through this. I have been sick for the past week, but I've been in a lot of physical pain, and I took a COVID test that came back negative, but it's like aches in my back, and at first I thought it was just because where I was working out, or just stress because a lot of stuff starts piling up at the end of the semester or whatever. But I'm just really just feeling ill, so I'm gonna do my best with this. So this is the review for Love and Marriage Huntsville, Whitlows Stay or Whitlows Go, season 6, episode 26. So Stormy, Kiki, and Tiffany. All right, we pick back up where we were last week. Kiki was ready. Okay, she was sitting on it. Okay, and she was ready for it. All right, I never saw the interview with Carlos King because I personally find him and his behavior just messy. Anyway, but Kiki said most of it was about her, which I can believe because Tiffany don't like take responsibility for anything in her life, so she keeps the attention on other people. So Tiffany used her baby as a shield in this conversation, just like I said when she walked through the door, bringing your baby in there, girl, bye. So Tiffany knows she's a liar. She knows it, and she was scared when she was confronted by Kiki. I could tell by her face, okay, because you could tell she's used to being around weak bitches, okay, that are afraid of Tiffany talking about them and then are friends with her, like, mean girl, weak bitch shit. Um, and she ain't used to people who will whoop her ass, okay? So you can tell she had to eat some humble pie. All right, Tiffany, they rolled that beautiful bean footage, okay? When you were being the shit started at that little pamper party, whatever y'all was doing at the spa. And it was obvious you were talking shit about Kiki not being loyal to her family, stirring the pot, so on and so forth between her and Kiki. That shit was none of your business. And you ain't loyal to nobody, so the nerve, okay? The footage also reminded me of how long this season has been. This has been a long season. Like, stop, okay? The push for money has got to stop, okay? Just stop. Just stop. Oh, these episodes go away. Um, and Tiffany, by the way, you are not even good at trying to shift the conversation into something else. Because some people are like master manipulators. And you get caught up in another conversation before you can realize that you weren't even good at it. Because you started saying that you have never been or never had a friend that fights. And so why would you want to be a friend with someone who fights? And Kiki is like, first of all, anybody who knows me outside of my cousin knows that I treat anybody well, unless you give me a reason not to. I can believe that. I actually believe that. Okay? And she was like, well, why, and clearly that's why your shit way of being is not something that has been checked, and I can tell Kiki. Because if it was, not Kiki, Tiffany, if it was, you would not feel so comfortable saying this wild shit. You know good and damn well this ain't about Kiki having been in no fight that you, one, didn't even witness at the cookout, or before then when you was talking shit about her. Like, just stop. That's what I mean. She's not good at it. Anyway, stay out of family business, okay? Tiffany had to apologize because she's scared. Like I said, Kiki gonna whoop her ass. She isn't sorry, and she will find somebody else to bully on the cast, or at least that's what I thought until the end of the episode. They should have never needed a sit down for this. Tiffany, you know you were wrong. You know you were lying on this woman. You know you were talking about where she lives and this, that, and the other. It ain't hard to believe because your character. Um, Stormy, your ass is messy, by the way. And Stormy, you are not good at bringing people back together. We don't see you as the peacemaker. I don't like you. I don't think you're likable. You're not affable. So it comes off as fake for me. And you're a lying ass, messy piece of shit. So stop using people as pawns, as practice for trying to bring your family together. Just focus on your family, or focus on it, or don't. But just stop, okay? But I will say this. Tiffany, you got one of the prettiest babies I've ever seen before in my life. And I've seen a lot. You have one of the prettiest babies I have ever seen. Okay? Moving on, Martell has put Chris Fletcher over his rental home. Now, typically, I wouldn't read nobody and stuff like this, but Martell deserves it, so oh well. All right? And he had those sunglasses on. Now, honestly, my first thought when I saw those sunglasses was like, he's being evasive. He purposely has those on in the house because he don't want to look Chris Fletcher in the eye like a man. And I still may be a little bit right. But anyway, so Chris was like his first impression of the shades would say either baby mama, no, don't call her no baby mama. She was married, his ex-wife, or Sheree had hit him in the eye. Yes, because you think that because you know he deserves it. Anyway, Martella's a diva. He's a diva, and that is in no shape, way, or form a compliment. You had that eye surgery to get rid of bags. Like, I just knew last week he was going to be talking about laser eye surgery. Like, so you don't have to wear glasses and stuff. No. I keep trying to tell y'all, Martell, he's sus. And for somebody who can't find a home for his children, I'm talking about a permanent home, and who's building a house in a garden and claiming that he's going to sell it, I just think his priorities are completely out of whack, and also that he's a dumb motherfucker. Anyway, so Martell starts talking to Chris. No, Chris is telling Martell about their family dinner or whatever, and he says, my daughter Lexi got upset and walked out, and it just was a mess. And Martell tries to give advice. Right, okay. About how people can get their point across without being disrespectful. Chris, see, that's how you transition, Tiffany. Take a note. See, Chris is smooth, and he's classy, all right? Chris said, speaking of which, okay, I heard that you got loud with my wife. And Martell goes, well, I think she was disrespectful. She was overly disrespectful. There's only a certain amount of disrespect a man's supposed to take from a woman, this, that, and the other. First of all, anybody start talking like that, I can tell you right now, is the kind of man that has very few boundaries. I'm sorry, doesn't respect anybody's boundaries, but always has these certain boundaries that nobody else can cross for him. Okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay? And then Chris goes, was she disrespectful or truthful? I said, oh. He was like, disrespectful or real? I said, keep going, Chris. Chris wasn't buying it. Okay? And Chris called him out saying, you keep saying this. She was talking about it. She was thinking Melody Hope, like Melody Hope, Melody Hope. And Chris said, wait a second. Let me stop you on that. You keep saying Melody Hope, Melody Hope. He was like, it's Melody Rogers. And Martell was like, oh, yeah, I heard about the name change. He was like, y'all on some bullshit. Y'all took a side. See that already? First of all, yes, a divorce is tough on a family and even on friends. Certainly if they met you as married. Nobody likes to be in the middle of that. They don't. And Chris was like, first of all, we're still in the middle. You have Team Holt on this side and Team Rogers on this side. Okay? We're not taking a side. But Martell's idea of somebody taking sides against him is simply not taking his side and not acknowledging any kind of wrongdoing, which Chris was trying to point out to him. But he's a narcissist. He can't see it. So then this punk ass bitch, Martell, is in the confessional. Ouch. My thighs are aching. I don't know what it is. I hope it's not COVID. I took a COVID test, but it came back negative. But still, I need to go see a doctor. It's going on so long. So anyway, this punk ass bitch was in the confessional talking about the name change is the end of their attachment. And he just made it final in his mind. I said, bitch, it was final when Mel filed, drew up them papers, and y'all ended up signing them. And he was like, yeah, this is something new. I hope she's doing it for the right reason, not just to get back at me. Why would you think that, Martell? What have you done that would make her do something like that? Why would she keep that name when you keep throwing it in her face? And Chris checked him real quick and goes, it's not new. That was the name from birth. Okay, it is not new. Get him. All right. Anyway, Martell, you stay on some fuck shit. So Kimmy and Tisha go to a spa. Okay, so Tisha's walking around with no mask, talking about how she's sick and thinks she's pregnant after going on a girls' trip to Vegas. First of all, girl, okay. First of all, the delivery of that story in and of itself is very problematic. Because you don't want to sound like you went on a girls' trip without your husband and got pregnant. First of all, that's first. Right? So even your delivery, was it me or did the hallway they took him down for this spa thing, for the vaginal thing, didn't it look like the hallway, I don't know what it is, but the hallway to a restroom at church, it gave me that feeling. And maybe it was me, but I think it was the kind of water fountain that was there. You know, the kind you press the sides, and it just seemed, it was giving church. And so I got really uncomfortable with the vaginal thing. Also, the woman working there kind of seems like the person who would be like, you know, one of the secretaries who was trained to be church mother and that kind of thing. But anyway, so y'all, really grasping at straws with these things with the Scott. I'm sorry, I'm over it. I don't want to hear about Kimmy's libido, that she is somehow either pressuring herself or feeling pressured by Maurice's behavior to speed up as if she has not been a cancer survivor. Because that pisses me off. All right? Replace one of the Scott couples with the Fletchers, okay? Because honestly, they've been carrying this show most of the season. All right, I would say get rid of Tiffany, because this is what I was thinking as I was watching it. But she ain't really been on the show this much this season because she's just getting boring. Tisha is taking a pregnancy test, and Marcel got a vasectomy. And then she says, well, maybe it didn't take. Tisha, I guess I'm really wondering, is she dumb? And I really feel bad. Like, I'll call people dumb, kind of as a joke, whatever. But when I feel bad when I really am calling somebody dumb and I mean it. And I don't want to mean it. But Tisha, I need you to give me more to work with. I really do. I need you to turn everybody. Because let me tell you something. As somebody who's been in school, anybody can go to school and graduate. Yes, it takes a level of discipline, so on and so forth. But to really use those degrees effectively, to kind of maneuver and be personable enough people like you and do business with you, I don't see it. She has more like degrees than Mel does. Like, you see what I mean? Like, you have to kind of know how to do certain things. You have to have that personality and ability, whatever. She wasn't pregnant. Okay, moving on. All right, when Tisha said she wasn't feeling good and she's been gaining weight, here comes Nurse Kimmy. You've been gaining weight because you've been eating. Okay, that wasn't really nice to me. It wasn't. It wasn't. And as a big girl, I don't appreciate that. Also, and as a woman, as a black woman who is obviously related to other black women who have suffered from fibroids, it could also be that. It increases your appetite and you start to feel sick and she might have profuse bleeding. Like, it could be that. So maybe you should suggest that to her instead of fat shaming her or weight gaining shaming her, whatever you were doing. All right. Tisha is tired of talking about Kiki. But you know what, Tisha? We are on the same page. We're tired of that barbecue conversation too. We don't want to hear nothing else about it. At least Kiki can give us something other than that. When she said she was done, she was still giving good TV. Okay, I think y'all casted the wrong person from the gate. But anyway, Kiki says she is stressed and feeling overwhelmed. I think she wants to go back to being a stay-at-home mom because she feels like sometimes when things just don't work out and you're failing over and over again, it's God's way of telling you. I'm not gonna lie. I've been there. I've been in that state of mind before. I have no kids. I'm not married. But I have been in that state of mind before, and it can feel like that. Um, and I totally understand women staying at home with their kids until they are of age if they can. Because honestly, there's a lot of crazy people in the world. I get it. I get it. Especially, when they're small. And her kids seem to be getting much older. But I worry that Tisha is giving up too soon. And because things simply aren't working out. You have to keep trying. Certainly in business. I mean, y'all had a whole Black Business Expo giving people advice. And you got to understand, sometimes you're going to fail. Failure is success in progress. Albert Einstein. Okay? Anyway, Chris Fletcher working on the job. His son came to visit him. All right, y'all know I love my reality TV boo, Chris Fletcher. I do. So Fletcher is checking in on him, even though his son says he's going here and there. And Fletcher was like, well, for you to be going here and there, I haven't seen you since the dinner. So his son is still mad that his mother is keeping the dogs. And Fletcher was like, okay, first of all, you need to understand as a man, you need to have more maturity and realize why your mother is making those decisions. Which means you need to acknowledge what happened. You got in trouble with the law. Your mother paid your bail, so on and so forth. You said, yeah, bruh, you are in trouble with the law. Okay, you are blessed that your family could even bail you out without a problem. They didn't have to go putting their house up. They didn't have to do any of that. They could still take your dog, which is not like preserving. I'm sorry. Dogs are not equal to human beings. It's not like going to get your baby, like your actual physical child who needs to grow up. They didn't have to do all of that for you, and they did. But I don't know. Maybe watching this back on TV will help you see. I hope so. So Chris Jr. felt there was a lot of pointing fingers at him. Okay, and I come from a family of 5, and we're all 2 years apart. So trust me, I know a thing or two about feeling left out, feeling like, you know, forgotten, feeling like you think somebody's your parent's favorite over the other. Like, I know what it is to be in a big family and feel that way, even though your parents don't think it's true. Um, Even when you express that to them as you get older, and they acknowledge it, but they still need you to understand it. So I understand it's a bit of both. But if anybody got it bad at that family dinner, it was Lexi. Even though she had nerve to drive off talking about she would burn that house down. Okay? But you did not get it the worst. Okay? Not from our assessment or my assessment from watching the show. So Chris asked him some questions and pointed out, he was like, you just seem to be rambling this whole conversation. And I'm just sitting up there, like, this is a bunch of bullshit. That is just freaking bullshit. And he said, you getting up, going out late at night and isolating. Who are you going to? You're not coming to me. You're not coming to your family. He said, it's not healthy. He was like, you haven't called your mother or talked to your mother. Why? You think that's okay? And I'm so glad that as a man, he is pointing that out. That there needs to be a level of respect for your mother. It's just kind of ignoring your mother, whatever. That's unacceptable. And that's how you keep a family together. You have to be able to pull the reins in. Okay? And he said, it sounds like what you're going through, it really just sounds like depression. And Chris, y'all, this hurt me. It really hurt my heart. Because Chris started crying and said, look, I'll stop everything. I'm never going to be too busy to help my kids. I started crying just because it was so pure and so real. And I just wish there were more black men like this in the world. And my boo, Chris Fletcher was crying. And it was killing me. And I started crying. Like, we can't have the silver fox crying and hurt like this. Okay, so y'all gotta do better. Chris Jr., look, now, he's being a good father. I'm sure he wasn't a perfect father. Trust me, nobody did. Okay, but I need y'all, like, get it together. But there are some things that I noticed in that family that I really don't want to go into with their kids. But I will say, kids or the family in general, I don't care how much money somebody makes, what school they graduated from or didn't graduate from, how much money they come from or have or don't have. There are some things that you cannot buy. You can't buy class. You can't buy poise, composure. And there are just things that some of those individuals at that table give off regardless. That's all I'm going to say. But all things are possible through Christ Jesus. So, let's hope Christianity gets his life together. Let's see it comes back to the family and they get together. But I applaud them for showing that on TV because that has to be painful for them to rewatch and read. All of them. All right. Tiffany and Lewis. Lewis is home. Okay, then. So Tiffany is separating clothes that she needs to fold. This was her language in that order. I said, okay. It was clear she doesn't know much about laundry, and it's giving forced scenes. Am I not mistaken, or was she complaining about having to do laundry some episodes ago? It I don't like to do laundry either, girl. But your washing machine and dryer are in your house. Okay, you're not living in a New York apartment. Okay, having to go to the basement or a laundromat. Like, I'm sorry, I can't rock with it. So she tells him about meeting up with Stormy and Kiki. Girl, we don't care. Okay, and neither did Louis. So he said Tiffany's mental state, not just because of Kiki, but could have been worse than because lately she's been uneasy. She's been going through a lot. But as far as I'm concerned, like, still has time to do messy shit. I need a character change. All right. Then she says her life has been turned upside down since Ace was born. She thought she was going to be able to snap back into work and her regular life. Tiffany, why did you think that? This is your second marriage and your second baby. It's not like you've never had a child and because you've been this kind of person your whole life. You are not, to me, giving off the workaholic working woman did. You're not. And that's fine if you aren't. I just don't like the fact that you're trying to convince us that that's who you are. And we don't know what you do. We have yet, all we know is that you got fired from the Chamber of Commerce. That's all we know. And that may or may not be true, but I'm saying that's all we know about your employment. Okay? Like, stop. Stop. All right? As Lewis pointed out, these problems were all problems we talked about before having a baby. Now, whatever job she was going to snap back into, we still don't know after this conversation. She's claiming postpartum depression, on top of the fact that they have a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old, because both of them had kids and they got married. And they're trying to buy a new car. I'm presuming for one of the kids, but either way, whatever. People, want new stuff. All right, and then she starts talking about filming the show. On the show. Okay. I mean, like, the days of reality TV. Remember actually back when people couldn't even talk about the show until it aired? Like, they actually were not allowed to go on the radio and tell you about anything. You just had a trailer. Like, so it kept the interest. Now we know everything before it happens. Anyway, I'm going to be honest. And if I'm wrong, I have no problem saying I'm wrong. Because I do not, I know. And somebody who has struggled with mental health and things like depression for a long time. And I tell you, I go to therapy every week. Not a life coach. Okay? To deal with a lot of those things. So I am not trying to make fun of or anything like that. But I'm going to be honest. I'm not convinced of this self-diagnosis nor Lewis's diagnosis. Not once have they said, a psychiatrist has told us this, the OBGYN has told us this. Like, I'm sorry. I think she is still complaining about laundry from 7 episodes ago. And Lewis is right, that if things are going to be hard, then it shouldn't be hard because of reality TV. You have to get up and do your makeup and all this other stuff. That's the kind of shit that's stressing you out. And we need to think whether it's worth it or not. Honestly, I think this is the only real job Tiffany has. I do. Her job is always taking her out of state because she don't really want us to know she ain't got no job. The job okay, Tommy. Anyway, so her saying she didn't have postpartum before with her teenage son does not matter. Like, all women who have children are prone to postpartum. It's not even necessarily a genetic thing, a not genetic thing. You had it for this previous child, so you're going to have it for the next one. It doesn't always happen like that. It doesn't. And I'm still convinced that she is doing the white girl crying thing where they force tears for things that are not that deep. And she wants sympathy for a baby that seemed like a good idea. But the reality is overwhelming. Tiffany, you are not some newly married 25-year-old who didn't know what they were getting into and that kind of thing. I'm not here for it. I'm not buying it. Like I said, I don't believe anybody's life is a mistake. So let me be clear. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, that baby shouldn't be here. Because that is so not what I'm saying. But this whole, it's not what I thought it would be. I would, as if this is your first child. But bitch, you were still raising a son when you decided to have another one on top of the fact that y'all have a blended family. You are not some naive, newly married chick with the hope and dream of a family. Girl, you on your second marriage and second baby. Miss me with the bullshit. Okay, just miss me with it. Because I don't like when people just put on bullshit like this. So they're going to leave the show. She's claiming it's because she needs to find Tiffany with her fake white girl tears. I think this was a polite way of firing her and them and letting her control the last bit of the narrative. Because they actually, showed her saying she was going to exit the show on the show as she talked about the show. I just think this was a polite way of cutting them. She's a performer. I'm over it. That's all I got. I'll see y'all soon. I really, I can only get a doctor's appointment for Monday. But anyway, I'll see y'all soon. Please be sure to like and subscribe.